So this is facilitate the counselling relationship and process and apply special interpersonal and counselling interview skills. Assessment 1.1, role play 10 minutes. Hi Mary, so it's great that we've cleared up all of the existing issues and anxieties that you had about the counselling process and whether or not you were going to continue, to have counselling or not. And I'm glad that you're fully aware of, my role as a counsellor and your role as the client. So is that kind of safe to say that we've covered that process?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, great. So I'd like to discuss a little more, about your concerns, with counselling. You've mentioned before that some close family members have expressed some opinions on counselling.
Yeah, my dad keeps telling me that coming here is a waste of time. I guess it was a few years ago now that he had counselling. And he didn't feel that he got anything out of it, I guess. I know that counselling isn't for everyone, and it makes sense that you've mentioned that because he doesn't really talk about how he feels to anyone, whereas I tend to word vomit and tell anyone that will listen, really. I'm still sceptical, though. I mean, think of, the movie Good Will Hunting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you feel skeptical because you've heard some different things from people that mean mean a lot to you, and they've kind of expressed how not beneficial counselling has been for them. And this must be really confusing for you. And yes, some movies like Good Will Hunting haven't accurately portrayed therapy or counselling.
Yeah, it's been quite confusing and I'm not very good at making decisions.
Okay, I'm sure it is, Mary. It's also important to understand that people attend counselling, for many different reasons. And it takes courage to show up and attend counselling, but it definitely takes determination to see it through. You mentioned, that you find it hard to make decisions.
Yeah, I find it really hard, especially like in this instance when I feel as though I'll be shoving my dad's opinion in his face by coming here.
Mm-hmm. So you think, I guess I can ask you here, do you think you're responsible for the decisions that, that you can make in your life and decision making?
Yeah, I mean, that's just who I am.
Okay, and you've mentioned before that you are more open to talking about your feelings and expressing yourself compared to, other people.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, well that's good. How would you feel if we did a little exercise together?
Yeah, okay, can't hurt.
Okay, great. So I'm just going to hand you some cards, and you just have to say them out loud, okay?
Rightio. I can make my own choices.
Mm-hmm.
I can take responsibility for my actions.
Mm-hmm.
And I am responsible for making my own decisions.
Okay, excellent job. You did really well.
Can I keep these?
Yeah, sure, of course you can.
Thank you.
So this exercise that we just did, was trying to enable you to, gain some, take control of your actions, in forms of decisions that you make.
Mm-hmm.
It can be very difficult to make decisions, especially when, you care about the opinions that you're receiving on these opinions.
Yeah, I guess it definitely made me feel empowered, and that is so, it's really true. Before I heard everyone's opinions about counselling, I was all for it. I thought it was going to be great.
Mm-hmm.
It was only once, I guess, I heard their opinions, I started doubting the process and whether I really wanted to come here.
Okay. Well, that's great that exercise made you feel empowered. It's important that you can take control of the decisions you have made. You had a positive approach to counselling before you heard these opinions from your family.
Yeah, yeah. It was positive, but I assumed it was much different to what it is, and what you've explained it to be. But it's with most things, what you assume is not what you get, is it? So I think of it as I've made a positive step, and now I feel like I've got some ammunition up my sleeve. I guess I'd like to call it that, to explain to people what coming to counselling and what the process has actually been for me. I definitely am feeling more confident with my decision of being here, only because I know that my dad and I, we're two completely different people. And I guess counselling's still not going to be for everyone. And I guess I assumed I was everyone.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's right, Mary. It isn't for everyone. And it's great that you're aware of, you're now aware of what the counselling process is, and you now have some tools to, to put to play, when you hear things like, quote unquote, counselling is a waste of time. So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I am responsible for making my own decisions. Like, come on, I love affirmations.
Yeah. Great, I love affirmations too. We were able to work together through this, and you've decided to continue with counselling, which I think is fabulous. We did this through using some rehearsal techniques with the cards. We were able to better understand, you were able to better understand, who your role is in making the decisions in your life. So did you want to tell me about your job? It says here, how long have you been working here for?
I started working in 2007, so that's about 9 years. Yeah, wow, that makes me feel really old actually. My mum, she's always been my biggest role model. She actually encouraged me to apply for the job as a sales rep. I've always been really good with people.
That's lovely that your mother has always been your biggest role model. And you mentioned, on your intake form that you've been working as a sales manager. Congratulations, well done. So was this a planned career role? Or?
Thanks. No, my mum is amazing, but no, it was not a planned career move. I was thrown into this position and it really took me by surprise.
Okay, you were thrown into the job?
Yeah, I was pretty shocked actually, but happy at the same time. A lot of new responsibilities. It's quite overwhelming. I've actually started to become a bit anxious. I've never had anxiety before.
Right, so you're you have a lot of new responsibilities with your new job. So it's making you feel overwhelmed and anxious.
Yep.
Yeah.
It sounds stupid, but it's been quite full on.
Well, many people become anxious when they're placed in a new work environment or a new role. It doesn't sound stupid. How are your colleagues, Mary?
It's definitely added extra stress to me, for sure. My work, they're okay, I guess, but mostly men, so...
Okay, perhaps we can develop some strategies to help you deal with your stress. I'm going to make a note of this, and I have some perfect exercises for you. But just to back it up, your colleagues are mainly men. Does this bother you?
Well, not particularly, but I used to, go under the radar sort of thing, I mentioned my mother encouraged me to apply for this job.
Right. Yes.
Well, she actually knows the CEOs of the company that I'm working for. They used to come in and drink at the bar that she used to manage. Yeah.
Okay, so the CEOs of the company know your mother, and they used to come into the bar that she managed. How is your relationship with these men? You've known them for quite some time, it seems.
Yeah, they're friendly. Like, that's not a problem. I guess because they've seen me grow up and they know my mum, they're nice to me. So, yeah, that's fine.
Right. So, yes, they must feel as though they know you quite well. Do you remember them coming into the bar when your mother was at work?
Well, as you can imagine, lots of different characters came in. I mean, they were the normal guys that would hang out at the bar after work, or they'd be there on weekends. They were, generally friendly and talkative, because they'd had a few beers or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I was the only kid at the bar, so the owners didn't really care as long as I didn't go behind the beer stand. I mean, they used to be quite mean to my mum though, and she never stood up to them, which I found frustrating. But she would still consider them her friends, which I didn't really like. I got into trouble once because I spat in one of their beers. Well, at the time I thought I was trying to protect her. That's what I could do. I mean, I was 15, and he's actually one of the CEOs I work with. He never saw me do it.
Okay.
But Mum saw me do it.
Okay. So you felt as though the patrons, who were men, and some of them are the CEOs that you work for and with, were mean to your mother. That must have been difficult to witness. And you try to stick up for your mother by spitting in someone's beer. Yeah,
but I kind of just made the situation worse. Mum got really stressed, and no one saw it though, but it kind of backfired because then I wasn't allowed out of the office, and I had to, when I had to go and spend time there, I think Mum was really worried that I was going to do it again, even though, like, in my mind, I was protecting her like I was doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm. So, you feel as though you ended up making the situation worse by trying to protect your mother.
Yeah. I was just trying to protect her. I mean, I guess I've probably always despised, like, guys in suits after seeing the way that they treated my mum, and she didn't deserve that. She hadn't done anything wrong.
Yeah, so, after seeing the bar patrons, seeing the way that they treated your mother, you feel as though you then despised of the men because of that.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, they never said please, they never said thank you, just basic mannerisms, like, shouldn't exist to them. She wasn't important. I guess I felt for some reason it was my fault. I don't know why. Maybe because I couldn't physically do anything to help her at the time. And she would just laugh it off, and she'd roll her eyes when they whistled at her or called out things.
It is hard to see the people that we love get treated badly. It really is. And it's hard to see this, especially because, we can't do anything to stop them. As you mentioned, you couldn't physically do anything to stop them. It's important that, we understand that we cannot change the things that other people do. We just can't change the way that, that other people are. But we must, look inside of ourselves to change the way that we perceive them, and blame ourselves for these things that we can't change. So in this case, I think, we must recognise that you didn't make the men in the bar be rude to your mother. You didn't do that.
Yeah. I guess it's like resentment that's built up inside of me. Like, it's resentment towards the men, and now I'm working, literally side by side to them. It's making me angry, even though they are friendly to me and respect me now. They probably don't remember all that stuff, how they used to treat, my mum after they'd had a few drinks.
Yes. I think it's important here if we we look at an aspect of forgiveness towards these men, and forgiveness, it's a conscious decision to let go of feelings of resentment that you state that you have, and you've harboured towards a person whom you believe has done wrong. In this case, it's the men that have that you saw be rude to your mother when she was at work, and you were there to witness that. Perhaps, we could imagine that these men, this is just an idea, have had, have had a really bad day, and we can somehow develop, some sympathy towards these men. And I can assure you that the benefits of forgiveness will far, far outweigh the resentment that you have towards them today.
I guess that kind of makes sense. I can totally feel sorry for them. It's like, I guess, when someone gets road rage or speeds past me, I would often think, well, they must be having a bad day, or, they're late, or they're rushing to get to the hospital, or, I have those little scenarios in my head. Is that kind of what you mean?
Yeah, so, if this is what works for you, then precisely. And, we're not approving of their actions, and we're not approving of road rage or speeding, but we're almost providing just a sense of sympathy towards them, of course, without allowing ourselves distress through this.
No, I can see that could work. It's still, it would be really hard for me to do it when it's my mum's well-being that's involved. I could easily do it if I know I'm the one that's going to be late for work when someone speeds past me, or, if someone bumps into me when I'm in line for a coffee. Those thoughts pop into my head, oh, they must be having a bad day, rah, rah, rah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just hard to justify these actions of the men because, well, it's my mum.
Yeah, right. So, you're emotionally connected with your mother. She means a lot to you, so you find it hard to have sympathy towards them.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like I was betraying her.
Okay. It seems as though you have a very strong bond with your mother, and you care about her well-being a lot. You think that if you show sympathy towards the men that disrespected your mother in the bar, you'll feel as though you've let her down?
Yeah, I guess it kind of sounds silly when I hear you say it like that, but she's never said, any of that to me, and she would only ever want me to be happy. Is it bizarre that something that happened 20 years ago is causing me, such anxiety now?
Well, so perhaps, your mother isn't thinking that, and your mother does only want you, does want you to be unconcerned of the males that, she worked with, which is affecting, your everyday life now. It's important to understand here, though, that the relationships that we have with our mothers or our primary caregivers, do help to create our barometer, so to speak, for all future relationships that we have, including our work colleagues. So this is not bizarre.
Yeah, it makes sense. But how can I forgive them though?
Well, just like you consider the people you're, that are speeding past you in the street, or the people that bump in line when you're in line for a coffee in front of you. You must grasp an understanding of the men in the bar's behaviour by allowing, to forgive them. And if your method of doing this is by sympathy, then we can write down some reasons why the men were having a bad day, if you like.
Yeah, okay, that sounds like a good exercise. I think once I separate them, remember how they acted towards my mother 20 years ago, and then see them for the people they are today, I guess I'll be able to control my anxiety through forgiveness. Yeah, I'll be optimistic about this. Let's give it a try.
Okay, great. So here's a piece of paper. And did you want to go first?
Okay. They were rude to my mother in the bar because they caught their wife cheating.
Okay, you can write that one down.
Yep.
They were in a bad mood that day because someone ran up the back of their car.
Okay, they were in a bad mood that day because they trod in dog poo.
Okay. They're in a bad mood that evening because someone egged their house.
That's a good one. how about they're in a bad mood because their breasts smelt like rotten eggs, and no amount of mouthwash could mask that stench.
Okay, that's a good one. That's a very good one.
Yeah. This is pretty funny, actually. Now, whenever I see them at work, I'll just picture Calvin walking in on his wife and treading dog poo through the house.
Great. So here we can apply somewhat a positive approach to the attribution theory by having optimistic and humorous internal attributions.
Yeah, I can see with work, this will, definitely help me forgive the CEOs I work with, which is going to help me with my anxiety.
Okay, great, Mary. So today we've discussed the reasons why why you're unsure about whether or not you're going to continue with counselling or not, and you feel as though you've gained a better understanding to what counselling involves, or while recognising that counselling isn't for everyone, and you've stated you think counselling is for you, which is fabulous. I'd like to continue working with you if you wish to do so, and our next session we can go over some stress management techniques. I have a brochure here for you to keep if you want to read over, because we are running out of time today, unfortunately. We also did some rehearsals, and by doing these, you've developed a greater understanding of your role as a decision maker in your life. You've also opened up to me about, I'm just kind of summarising the whole, our session. You've also opened up to me, the reasons behind why, your anxieties are happening because of your past experiences with these men that were rude to you and your mother at work, for which you feel responsible for. And together we've used some techniques to ease you with the process of forgiveness. And you have the stress techniques brochure.
Yep.
Yeah, so and we'll delve into that a little bit more next session. So how about next Monday, same time?
Yeah, thanks, Natalie. Amazing. I'll see you next week.
Okay, great. Good job.
Oh.